Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I am going to show you how to create 3 different types of Advent candles. Now I'm going to give you 3 options as well as put in some footage of what you can find in the shop. So this one is a candelabra that I had on hand from my mother-in-law some time ago. It has 4 candle holders, and that's what you're going to need because you have 4 weeks to count down to Christmas and you're going to need to use 4 candles. Now, if you didn't have a candelabra, a long dish like this would do. I'm just using one of my electric dishes that I had in the kitchen. I also have this silver round bowl. It is quite shallow, also, which I could use. And worst comes to worst, if you don't have anything else, I have a baking tin here that's works just fine. The color is pretty good. If I wanted to, I could add in a ribbon of some sort, but I don't think that would be necessary. But I'm just going to give you 3 options. So this first option is probably the easiest of them all. But before that, you're going to have either some rice. I just took my decanter out of the cupboard and I've got some rice in there as well as my salt. If you watched my previous videos, you know I like to use salt. It really gives a very lovely snowy effect without it getting too messy. But let's get started, and we are going to start with the easiest one. And of course, yes, before we start, we also have some moss as well as your 4 candles of choice. Now, I had these on hand from last year. They're quite bright, this red. That's probably why I didn't use them last year, but for the purposes of this video, that works well. And as well, I've got these 4 long tapered candles, which were also left over from last year. More in keeping with the red color that I would probably use in my home. So I'm going to first start by adding these candles to this candelabra. As you can see, I did move over to the long red tapered candles. They did sit a lot better in my candelabra. I should have really checked that before I started filming, but I did manage to secure them in the candelabra. And if I was to use this permanently, I probably would secure it even further with some melted wax or some paper to make sure that they were not falling over like they were doing in the video. But as you can see, just to give you an idea, you just made sure that you needed 4 candles and secure them, and then you would start lighting 1 candle for each week, and then the last candle means that Christmas is around the corner. So as you can see, that was just so simple. If you've got this sort of candelabra or candle stand at home, you don't need to go out and buy anything. You just need to get your candles of choice and your Advent candle is done. So now I'm thinking we should move on to a couple of other options, and let's start with this longer option. This is the most popular option here in Scandinavia. I'm going to insert a little bit of footage of what you can find in the shop, but for our DIY today, I'm going to be using rice. I'm filling up the dish with some rice, leaving a couple of centimeters at the top. And as you can see from the footage, these longer ones do have candle stands that allow the candles to sit in. And subsequently, those are the candles I was using in my first option. And you just secure your candles into that. So like I'm doing here, just secure the candles into the rice, making sure they sit really well and that they're quite stable, especially if you've got kids, you don't want them toppling over. Once you've got your 4 candles straight and secured in your rice, then it's going to be time to start decorating your Advent candles. So if you ever saw any Advent candles on Pinterest, especially if they're from Sweden or Scandinavia, you would notice that they use quite a lot of moss. So this is really, really good because it allows you to cover the rice with the moss, and then it just looks like you bought it at a shop or at the store. No one would be none the wiser. Another option really that I didn't think of, but you would have to spend some money, is to go out and get some floral foam. If you had some floral foam, especially in green, you could cut it to size to the dish or bowl you were using, and your candles would be a lot more secure, I would assume, with that as opposed to the rice. So once you have all your moss set up and all your rice is covered and your candles are straight and standing securely, it's time to add in your embellishments. Now I am keeping everything very neutral, very rustic, and adding some pine cones as well as some red berries. Now this candle is one of those options where you just have a single candle and burn it down to that number every day. Now they are really pretty. I mean, you could take a block candle and write on it if you like, but I think for young children especially, it is nice to have 4 candles. It's easier for them to understand on a weekly basis as opposed to a daily basis, and then you don't need to make sure that you have to burn down the candle just to that number. What if you forget and then you burn down 2 numbers at a time? Sometimes I think it's just a little bit more complicated. So this third and final option is a very child-friendly option I'm giving you. Also, it's probably the easiest of the lot. It's a circular dish. You add in your salt. Now, I see I added in a lot more salt, and 4 battery-operated candles. Now, if you could get 4 battery-operated candles in different heights, it would be better. As you can see, I have 3 different heights here, but it works fine. You've got your 4 candles there for each week. Very child friendly, very easy to make, literally takes you seconds if you have everything on hand, and you can use whatever decor you have to make that work. And I just used some deer that I had, but some baubles or any kind of decoration that keeps in with the color scheme would work. So now, since we're done, I'm just going to light these candles here so that you can see what they look like styled on my console. And I am hoping that this has given you some ideas of how to create your own advent candle, especially if you've got children. It's a really lovely way to count down to your Christmas day. The first option, a very child-friendly, easy option, a more traditional option here in the middle, and then you've got your more modern, classic option here. And this one, another little tip, if you wanted to mark your candles 1, 2, 3, and 4, you could attach it to the bottom of the candle. You could write it on a piece of paper or cut them out or find stickers, whatever it is you have on hand would work just fine. So I hope this video has given you some ideas of how to incorporate your Swedish advent candles into your home this year. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and join me for when I decorate my home. The beginning of December, I'm going to be doing my advent candles. They're going to be a little bit different to what we see here, but these are some options for you. So I hope you subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video, which comes out on Tuesday. And I am starting to publish 2 videos every week, considering it's Christmas, and I want to give you as much DIYs as I possibly can to help you create a warm and inviting and a lovely Scandinavian Christmas.